So, and then my final question. So, your specialty is in Dawah, and you mentioned some of your advice and thoughts for students of knowledge and young scholars. What about for the non-student of knowledge, the non-scholar? Is there any advice? How can the average Muslim practically do dawah? What is the most effective way to call to Islam? Because some people will say that the best kind of dawah is just be a good Muslim and don't try to like make a lot of noise, like just be a good student, be a good worker. And sometimes I feel like that advice is kind of, you're just telling Muslims be good at dunya, like be good in pursuing dunya, and then prioritize that. Don't prioritize, calling people to Islam, because that's weird. Like if you're in school or you're at your workplace and you say, "Oh, you want to talk about Islam?" Like that's pretty much the last taboo in the workplace or even in college. People will talk about their sex lives. They'll talk about all these, details, but don't talk about religion. Like then the conversation gets awkward. So, do you have like any kinds of practical advice that you can give viewers on dawah?
I mean, that's a good question. And it's funny because when I was searching for the meaning of life, I remember all of the craziness that comes with like a Jahiliyyah lifestyle. I would ask people like, what's the meaning of life? And no one wanted to talk about it. They'll talk about them and they'll do the craziest stuff, but the meaning of life, like it's off limits. It's a good question. And I'm not sure that somebody who doesn't have knowledge can really give da'wah. I feel like you do have to reach a certain level of knowledge. And I mean, first of all, seeking knowledge, it's incumbent upon all of us. We all need, as Muslims, to have a certain level of knowledge. And I think we all need to seek that out and get a strong foundation. And then, inshallah, once we have a strong foundation, as long as we don't go beyond what we are qualified to speak about, like that's sufficient. I mean, just carrying yourself as a Muslim and not trying to change your deen, not compromising, and things of that nature. I mean, just sticking to the haqq and having good akhlaq, and but you have to have a certain level of knowledge before you can really do anything, right? So yeah, I mean that's I guess, I mean, what do you think in regards to that?
I think that there are opportunities, like there are things that people are concerned about in this day and age, the average non-Muslim. And I think that Islam does provide solutions and does provide a clear guidance on certain issues when it comes to morality, how to live your life, the importance of family, like you're mentioning, like treatment of parents. Isn't it like a shame that I think people, because of their fitrah, they recognize this, or they might have moments of realization that, wow, the way that I'm treating my mom and dad, this is not right, but this is the basic culture. This is what everyone is doing. And then I think in those situations, like there's a nice, convenient, like opportunity to speak. But as you mentioned, like to your point, you have to have a basic knowledge about like the value of birr al-walidain and all of these other values in Islam. If you're ignorant of them, or you've kind of distorted them to fit in or to assimilate into the dominant culture, then you're not going to have that awareness to or recognition that, oh, this is a great opportunity for dawah. This is a great opportunity to show a different path and to help people, and that will lead to a bigger conversation on tawheed. That will lead to a bigger conversation on Allah and the Quran and the Sunnah and so forth. So I think but again, this is like something that a person would recognize in their own context, in their own situation, and we can speak about it theoretically, but then it's up to each individual person and their level of knowledge, their own circumstance, how they actually operationalize it and apply it.
Yeah, and like you said, and it's really not even that complicated. Like you do have to reach a certain level of knowledge, but like you said, being good to your parents, being a good neighbor. I mean, just so much of this society has lost so many like traditional values that in line with the fitrah, like a lot of people don't even know their neighbor. Like if you go as a Muslim and you're like, okay, part of my deen is being good to my neighbors, and you just knock on the door and give them some cookies, it's like to some people that's like, wow, that's amazing, like who would have ever thought to do something like that? Like some of it's very basic stuff, it's just a matter of, just getting that basic knowledge and then just implementing it, not going beyond your your qualifications.
Yeah, I remember one conversation that I had a long time ago with someone. It was actually like some kind of gathering where they were trying to come up with a campus. This was in college, like some kind of activism group or something, and I just attended the meeting like just to see what it's about, and they were non-Muslim. And so they were trying to come up with a set of values, like as an organization, what are going to be some of our values. And so they're just talking about different things. And I just want to suggest something. I said that, well, how about a value being like no backbiting? How about this as an organizational value? And they're like, what's backbiting? Like they hadn't even heard of the concept of ghaiba in that term, like backbiting. And I explained to them, like, no, this is an important value, and I'm Muslim. This is something that we believe is like very damaging and harmful, is if people talk behind each other's back in a negative way. And so I was explaining the basic concept to them, and they were just floored by it. Like they clearly see like the ethical value there, and it appeals to them. But they had no clue about it. And then when you attach that to Islam, then it opens the door. So that's just a basic example. Like you said, it doesn't require, like I wasn't a scholar. I was a student of knowledge at that time, but I wasn't a scholar, but I could still speak to that.
Yeah, I think we should, that gives me an idea of like, I think we should do like some sort of Dawah course where we talk about these sorts of things, really basic stuff you can implement, like not backbiting. I mean, people will notice that, like that person never backbites. That person's trustworthy. That person's good to their parents. You know what I mean? Like those sorts of things, I think would be excellent for Dawah, and they're simple things, you know. So maybe inshallah we can put together something.
Yeah, I think that the problem is that a lot of people are led to this idea that all religions are the same.
Yeah.
All religions are pretty much the same thing, so it doesn't really matter if you're Muslim or Christian. Like we might as well not even talk about the issue. But I think that's very wrong. Like Islam is distinct in a lot of ways, and the values that we have that have been revealed to us through the Quran and Sunnah, it's comparing light to darkness, and other people recognize it as well.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay. Well, Jazakallah khairah for all of those insights and taking the time out to speak with us. So I hope you all enjoyed Brother Saajid's insights here. And if you want to see more of him and to benefit further, then I highly suggest that you subscribe to his channel. And you can also follow his work. Ilmstitute, you said, is a separate channel.
Well, Ilmstitute is like the brand. I have my YouTube channel is just under my name, Saajid Lipham, but Ilmstitute, that's sort of like the brand, because like I said, I want to collaborate. I want to, I don't want it just to be about me,
Sure. And is there a website?
Yeah, there's ilmstitute.com where I've sort of categorized a lot of the videos I've done. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Inshallah, you can check the description. We'll have
Sure, I'll include all of the links in the description, inshallah. And so jazakumullahu khairan for tuning in, and inshallah follow Brother Saajid's work, and I'll see you inshallah online. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.